overlay architectural district build. This project would redevelop the currently vacant former restaurant site with a new mixed-use building, including retail on the first floor and 13 apartments on the second floor, and associated site work, including parking, loading dock, utilities, and landscaping. The existing septic system to the former restaurant will be utilized until connection to the municipal sewer system.
So maybe if we can go around and just introduce ourselves, that would work.
I'm Sarah Porter, Senator of the Committee.
Steve O'Neill.
Chris Vincent.
Charlie Adams.
Kathy Williams, Town Planner.
I'm Scott Parella with Concert Group.
Imad Daran.
Mike Butler.
So do you think Roy might be coming later?
will be,
Is he-
like,
Okay. So
Probably-
Jack O'Leary's not
probably-
coming? Just
No,
I put in some names just in case people are coming. So I think if you want to go ahead and give a presentation, I can share the screen. And maybe you want to go through.
so do you want to start with the site itself, the civil drawings?
Yeah.
Good.
Okay. So the location at 228 Route 28, West Yarmouth. So it's again a vacant lot, formerly a restaurant, and essentially we've redesigned the site so that it's primarily sitting on starts in a similar area. So I think a bigger footprint, just under 10,000 square feet on the building on the first floor, and just under 10,000 on the second floor as well. We're reusing the septic system that's there until we will be able to tie up to town sewage. We have essentially, according to all code, engineered the site accordingly for water management, septic, lighting, landscape, etc. And I think some of that is shown on other pages. We can go through those in more detail if you like, or if you'd like to fast track to some of the building design and renderings, we can do that, or any of the
Take a look
materials.
at this site.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So I believe
Sorry,
this shows.
this is being so strange.
Is it trying to just.
It must be too big.
Buffering
Yeah.
overlay. It's too big. My own.
So this is going to show basically traffic flow for the ability to have fire protection vehicles go through the site, as well as the few times that we'll have larger vehicles making deliveries to the rear of the building where we have.
Hey, you!
Whoa, you.
Good.
Good. My ride is bringing me. Actually, I was on time. My ride was late.
Here, if you want to sit here.
There's a packet
she
right
can
there
sit
for you.
there. She's making her way down. All right.
Hey,
Charlie
Hi,
just,
Jack.
just got dropped off by his keeper.
Charlie, how you doing? Good.
Good.
Good. Hi.
We just started.
So
Just
maybe
started.
Yeah, we just
Yeah.
going on the site.
Okay.
Good. All right.
Unfortunately, things are
So
behind.
you're giving me a presentation then.
Yes.
Go for it.
All right, so landscaping, removal of some invasive species, plantings of some native species, and again, where you see trees, basically we're just ensuring that we're meeting the code requirements as far as plantings are concerned. And I believe in this drawing, it may or may not be showing the current version of in the front, a swale in the front.
Rain garden.
Yeah,
Yes.
right here is kind of a smaller
So
rain garden area.
this set, I believe, is what was originally submitted, and so therefore we have the comments from site plan review. aren't
No,
reflected
you've
in this.
modified
Yeah.
it. Yeah, it was much larger and you've kind of softened it and made it less steep.
All right. Any questions landscaping wise?
The existing tree line seems to go quite a ways back from the proposed parking lot and the existing parking lot, I guess. So I think that needs to be buffered as well. If that existing tree line there follows way back into the, way back to the back of the property, then we really need buffering, right? On the back too.
I think what he's talking about is you need to have buffering all along here that meets the zoning bylaw. You may find that your existing trees might do that, but you might be a little sparse here where you might need to put some. And again, I think there's nothing really to buffer here because this is just going to be grassed area. That's on top of the septic
just the
system.
old grass and pavement, I take it back there. So that really should be properly landscaped as well.
And
Is
as far as the fence that's on the west side,
Fence?
there's one, I'm not sure, I can't
Oh,
see.
from the
this
back
drawing.
where the trees stop and it goes all the way back?
Really have to continue down there too.
Is the,
Does that necessitate the need for the fence then?
Well-
I think what you're doing in general does.
is there enough, because this particular, location, a few years back was going to have a dollar store or one of those type stores. And I know those are a lot of land in the back. And, is that, now owned by these people? Or is it still open for purchase?
I think that's
The
all part of this
lot,
process,
the
right?
lot that. is within
Because of
the-
right-hand side of the building.
The site as it is drawn here is owned by A Plus Real Estate LLC.
Does it go all the way back into the woods area?
I don't believe so.
This
That's
is
just the
town, I
lot
believe it's
line there,
town
lot
line
line
here,
there.
town
Okay.
land here,
All right,
and this is the property line. So they own all of this.
all of that, okay.
Do we have a view from above that's readable?
I have a full-size set of plans if you want to look at the full-size set of plans.
I'm just saying that with the trees and everything, you know,
Well, I guess
An aerial?
with the tree line there,
Yeah, I
I
didn't print
guess,
out an
Okay.
area.
I guess
I
that's
don't
probably
get the
okay
section
for
here.
where there is the tree line. I guess that's the way you'd interpret it.
I'm sorry, I was.
I
answering-
guess with the tree line there on the buffer, I guess they're covered in the back, right?
I think it's going to be a case where you're supposed to be buffering from your parking lot areas. And I
Yeah.
think, and I mean, this is also the extension of where they would come in for the tractor trailer trucks that would turn around. So you just
Right.
want to make sure that you have enough buffering here. And then I think you probably maybe
So
one more
here is
tree
a-
to have buffer along there. But Mark's going to make sure that you have everything that you need, and then identify. At some point, we're going to need to identify all of the relief that you need. All you're going to be doing with the planning board is basically saying you're substantially hearing. We think you've developed this enough that it warrants going to the ZBA, and then any relief is through the ZBA.
Understood.
In one way or another, you should do something. Otherwise, it's
Excuse me.
just old, pavement and weeds.
Mr. Chair, right over here.
Oh, great. You might remember me. I'm with Scott. Sorry, I'm late. Thanks, Roy. Any other comments?
Just got the rain garden, the only thing I am interested in, although I like the rain garden, is just the maintenance of it. Collection of any debris or anything like that. Would somebody be on site to maintain that?
So I believe the owners of the property are going to manage the property as well.
Okay.
So, and they'll be occupying the space underneath and operating the business out of that location. So, and that's just kind of business as usual.
Yeah, I like the idea, just want to make sure.
Sure.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Where next? Where have you?
You want to look at architecture next?
Yeah, let's go down.
Right.
I'm sorry, it's
Um,
chugging along here very nicely.
So as it's buffering. So we've had,
You were missing in the trees there too.
thank you.
Sorry.
Prior to submission, we took a number of passes at coming up with a design that was would substantially conform to the design standard. And probably the best way of looking at it would be as a rendering, at least for myself. And then, of course, we have all the drawings that, CAD drawings that go along with that. But essentially, what we're looking at, the top image would be the south along Route 28. On this to the right of the screen, that would be the east side where Giardino's restaurant is. And then in the bottom rendering, again, the right side of the monitor has, that's the south facing on Route 28. And then to the left side of the monitor is the west side, which is where the retail entrance would be. And so we've used, on the first level, again, is the retail space. And then the residential is upstairs. That's 13 units upstairs. And
How many
what else?
bedrooms in there?
I'm sorry?
How many bedrooms?
So there are 10 single bedroom units and 3 2-bedroom units.
What type of retail space are you contemplating on?
So
You're talking about a restaurant, right?
it's called Express Restaurant Supplies. So it's not a restaurant per se. It's not really, I don't know if I'd even use the pure play term retail, although retail traffic will be a component of it. It's wholesale as well. So everything from paper goods, anything like food service related, including food product itself.
It was that place on the Rotary by the airport. It used to be there. Is that them?
Yep. Yes.
Well, there you go. Glad to have you back.
Yeah. So this will
Miss
be
that store.
company, but the owners are right behind you.
Okay.
Yeah.
The one that,
Something to do with the tree.
the one that's next to Kathy's Liquors currently. Barstool. I am.
Oh, yeah.
It's going around town that they have the least expensive price for lobster meat. So,
Where-
Board of Health agency.
Where will the deliveries be made?
In the rear.
So on the
In
rear of
the
the
rear.
site, there's a shipping receiving area.
Drive in.
Yeah.
There's their turnabouts. They back in this way and there'd be a little loading dock right there. Yeah. There's that.
There's 2 loading docks?
There's one.
Back to trailer.
The goal was to hide it, both from the residential and the street.
As far as, all right, here are the elevations in the CAD drawing. So let me see.
That's the rear,
That's the
third one down.
Third one down is the, yes, the rear, looking at it from the north, looking south. So the loading dock itself is at ground level, provides the ability for a larger vehicle to back down and drive out. And as we illustrated on one of the earlier drawings, the flow for these larger vehicles is conforms to be able to allow access and exits. Let me see. Any questions on this view?
I have some questions, and I think maybe the rendering is misleading from what I'm looking at the drawings. I know you don't have any choice but these hip wheels because of height restrictions and all that. I wish there was a way to get around it, but I don't think there is. But I think on the axiometrical, the columns look extremely, way too huge for the building. And, but I think on the actual drawing itself, I'd like to know what those dimensions are. They also, on the rendering, don't show any trim on the large columns. And I think they're shown differently in the drawings with pedestals, whatever you call them, and then the pediments. And these panels, I'm assuming it's for the signage at the entrance, or? I'd like to see a little more detail in those if you feel like you need to have them.
What would you call those? Those,
I call them
Panels?
Panels, that's all, right here.
Yeah.
I guess you could call them lintels, but they're just the horizontal elements. It's just a little overwhelming and for the building, I think, as well as I said, in this rendering, the columns look like I just came back from Turkey and went to Ephesus, which is about the oldest monument ever. And the columns are just a little bit bigger than this, and they're supporting a whole lot more weight. And even though, I know that the columns, the actual structural element is going to be narrower, to make it look so big is overwhelming. So I'd be curious, I would think that 10 inches, at the most 12 inches, as the overall largest dimension on that would be sufficient. You probably haven't gotten to that point yet, but just a suggestion.
I don't think we'd object at all. I
And
mean, I
I'm
think
not
the
quite
reason-
sure what the dimensions should be, but it
The
should
reason I
be,
think, it's there, but then our architect isn't with us today.
it's still alive.
Just for
He's alive,
today,
though.
just not today.
He's alive. His mother-in-law died,
Some-
that's why he's not with us. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
But,
Yeah, so
I think the goal, and Kathy's been great at trying to help us to come up with a design which was as conforming as possible. But, certainly, one thought was we want to emphasize the entrance, on Route 28, even though it's a faux entrance, we're not going to have it be our entrance, but
Oh, it's not.
it's not.
Oh.
So the thought was to sort of create some grandeur to it so that it looks like.
I mean, it's a nice enough architectural element, but
Yeah.
I don't think you need to call attention to it myself.
And the panels, and certainly you're just hiding structure, but they don't have to be. They don't have to look like that at all.
Yeah, I would just like to see him
Sorry.
and her play around with it and see what actually looks better.
Sure.
Break it up like shadow boards, that kind of thing.
And also, as I said in the drawing, I can see that there's a pedestal, I guess is what you call the bottom part of it, which doesn't show
Yeah.
in the large, there's no trim on the large one at all. And so that should have more, anyway, it just,
So the rendering is done by a
Yeah.
recent graduate who knows how to use Revit.
yeah. I
And I'm
understand.
speaking to an architect, so I know that you know what I'm talking about, rather than.
I never used to.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm retired
She was
now.
our architect is an AutoCAD.
Yeah,
so,
I'm just saying, I actually was looking at this and not the
So
actual
it's an artistic rendering, let's call
elevation,
it.
so
The elevations would
I'm
be.
just saying, I'd like more information on sizes and all that.
Yeah,
I'll find it.
no, we don't have working drawings yet,
Okay. That's all.
but
Thank you.
I think, I appreciate, I know you well, and I know your history, you're very reasonable. I would think that those comments are very reasonable.
I think they are too.
Yep.
Won't add anything to the cost, which is what. it's usually
You take away
about.
some of it.
Maybe. Thank you.
Thank
That's
you.
all I have to say. Otherwise, I think it's pretty good.
That's a positive.
Good.
Common laundry apparently.
Yes, so there's common laundry, there are also storage,
What-
personal
what-
storage,
Keep showing the floor plan.
units inside of the second floor, as well as which are accessible from the common area, outside of
Here you go.
the actual
Here's your
units
floor plan.
themselves. Yeah, so,
these are the storage areas in the center.
and so yes, in the center, so there's
Cover.
a number of those, and then the common laundry is in about the, just northwest of dead center of that floor plan, on a corner, right there, yep.
Storage cubicles are essential almost today.
All right, anything else from you guys?
The only thing, if there are any questions as far as the materials and the colors, the rendering doesn't necessarily render exactly the color, but the general,
Pretty close.
general theme is to go with like the gray tones.
Yeah.
Trying to use, hardy plank, for example, fibrous cement lap siding, hardy shingles. And for the roof, let's see, architectural shingles, these are asphalt.
See, it's a maximum height now.
What did you say, Dick?
Are you at the maximum height now of the structures?
We're not exceeding, I'm not sure how far below exactly.
And it's like,
And then on the, kind of, on the lower level, from the ground up about, I want to say 4 feet, they're using a brick, a platinum colored brick veneer to just create some distinction between that and clapboarding, just to create some variation.
Where is your dumpster located in?
So on the northeast corner to the, no, I think I have that wrong.
It's actually like on the site, like right here.
Yeah.
It's to the
So
left
it
of
is
the
It is
turnaround.
the northeast.
I hesitate to move and not be able
Yeah,
to get there.
That will be.
It's back.
Thank you, Chris.
I believe my drawing is corralled.
Okay, and that will be fenced in?
Yes,
Yes.
Is it fenced in on the drawing?
Yes, it will be.
It says see detail, but there's no detail.
Okay.
That's probably, you got detail sheets.
Yes.
You got
Tons of
detail sheets in the
detail
back?
sheets.
Oh, okay. Let me find that for you. Here we go. Trash enclosure,
Okay.
all sides, and then
Yeah, page D3.
I assume there's, chain link with the slats in it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Something.
Do we want chain link slats in it? Sorry.
Black
Do we care?
vinyl? Is that what we're talking about? Black vinyl?
Board looks better.
Yeah, gorgeous. I don't think we specified the color of.
Did you want a solid fence or are you okay with the chain link? That's
No.
very utilitarian. I didn't catch that.
Solid.
I think it probably would be better to have it, you don't want the chain link fence looking at the dumpster.
Right, that's why they put the slats in, which is kind of a cheat to kind of like visually. But yeah, I'm not a big fan.
I like you.
Solid wood?
Yeah,
One
Yeah.
chain link down here.
Or
Vinyl clips.
something that looks like wood.
I think a solid fence.
Solid fence.
I don't think there's any issue with that.
On D2, on the general site details, where is this sign located? It says restaurant supply. On the south side?
On the, so the one for the street.
On the 28 side?
Yes, but we have to show you, show on the plan.
Description of
Ah,
the,
this
on the
is-
sign.
This is
It's right here. In the front,
Oh,
right?
it's on the,
Isn't it right there? Oh, no, it's right here.
okay.
So
There it is.
this is the only advertising, if you will.
To the left side of the
Are they gonna
left
have,
entrance.
The north side.
Have it listed down below.
Those-
Slats.
just.
Those are your colors?
No, but I meant for residential area, are they going to, so that people know that residential location is
It's
commercial.
like the
I
side.
don't know. But that's their colors.
I think Charlie has another
Charlie
question.
has a question.
Yes, sir.
On that side,
Yes, sir.
it shows that it's strictly advertising, if you will, one location. Now, people who live in there and someone coming to look at them, is there going to be a slat sign underneath there to let people know that the residence is located as well?
I mean, at this juncture, the answer to that is no. The concept was for more people's privacy than anything else.
You got the street number above the sign.
I think it would just be a street number. Then there's an entrance that's marked for residential, then near the residential entrance would be probably a board.
A registry on the building, perhaps.
Oh, you will.
Yeah.
That's
Sort of like a
that's where-
condo.
Yeah.
Yeah, similar.
Okay.
A little directory by the door.
And can I follow up with another question? And is the building gonna be signed on it so that it's clear where the residences are, so that someone who's visiting the wholesale doesn't try to get?
Sure, so, and I believe the way the parking is laid out, it's earmarked for retail on the north side and residential on the On,
North is
I'm
down.
I'm sorry,
North is
on the west
south
side
is
for
right, yeah.
retail, north side for residential.
Near the
And the door is
Near the
here.
entrance. Okay.
Do you think people will park here and go in this side entrance too to get to the
Less than
residential?
exit, right?
Residential,
Yeah.
That's more of an emergency exit.
Do you think there's sufficient parking here for the 13 residences? Or is this,
That's residential too.
The size,
So long
the
as
the
we're
size
not
of those
over
parking
the
areas,
Some residents are gonna
before we had problems with it, they were too narrow, unless you had a small, very small car, is each parking area, comply with.
I think they're 10 by 20, the parking spaces?
Yeah, so, yeah. They
That's what the
comply with
town
the town
requires,
standard,
right?
yep.
Yeah. So the parking is along the north side and a little bit along the east
Or
side?
west.
there's
little
north,
on the east
east
side.
and west.
Easter, well, but you're talking about residential only?
Oh,
So there's two little runs or three, north and then west. West is
On
that
the
way,
west,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So this would all be
East is
residential and then probably some of these.
yeah, I meant west.
Could you point out on there, Kathy, where the residential entrance is versus the wholesale?
Right
entrance?
here's the residential and this is the wholesale. And I'm assuming you could also enter on this side. The,
Yeah.
If
whole-
the,
yeah,
both
the retail.
sides.
Okay.
And the
tenants are gonna
employee
have,
parking is on the
Probably.
right-hand side there.
Probably would be more employers.
Yeah, I think on the right-hand side, the east side is gonna be mainly for customers.
That's right.
I would think that you probably wanna have the employees park back, and then the rest of it. So the main and the only real entrance for tenants is that back one kind of to the east. I mean, are they gonna have keys and so forth when they get in that westerly door too?
I see no reason why.
Let's look at the
why
floor
not.
plan.
I think it makes
We can
sense,
help them,
otherwise
they'll certainly have,
they're gonna bitch and moan about walking all the way around the building.
well, I think it's surrounded by their parking, so, you know, yeah, it'd be convenient to have it right up against the building, but we have a fire access issue, so get driveway against the building. But that's as close as I think they can get to the entrance. And yes, they'll have a way in, whether it be a key or key fob or.
Any reason the key can't fit both doors?
I think the key would fit both the things that diagonally opposite, right where the loading dock is, but the intention would not be to use that one. Because that's more of an emergency exit. So we want them to come and go in one door.
Yep.
For safety and security too.
So which door is the main door for residents?
So you got a.
Where the arrow
floor
is.
plan.
Right here.
We
She
did.
points it out right there. She's pointing it
I guess it's.
out. It's hard to see.
So there's a door here.
That's
commercial.
retail, first
Commercial,
floor
yeah.
only.
That's retail?
Yep,
Yes,
I thought the retail's over
they're
here.
both.
both the same store, all one store.
Oh, okay. So the main resident dock access is here,
That's the exit, emergency exit.
emergency exit. So the main access is what, this one?
No.
In the
Up
back,
one,
back?
up to the top there.
Back
So is this
back of
one
the dock.
actually?
Kind of
That's residential.
All right.
On the commercial
That's a
side,
little more centralized.
there's just one
So the
tenant.
doors are this way, right?
Yes, the owners of the property.
Doesn't
Okay.
the residential come out beyond
Where are you?
All right, other member questions?
that? Or-
Bill, Charlie?
I'm just having a little
No.
problem understanding the drawings. Alright, so
Sarah.
this line here, are we saying that behind, right here is the entrance? I mean, beyond that? Should there be another piece coming out here?
Nope. So let's see.
I mean, I see a grip coming out beyond the,
I think that is the door that we're discussing, that comes out.
this
This is
little
out.
baby door is the main entrance to the building.
Residence.
Residential.
And this is out, right out from.
Oh, so the entrance is actually
Right,
kind of in
doesn't
the,
show.
to the side.
Right, but look at the east elevation drawing in your packet, Chris.
The east, yeah.
Shouldn't it come out beyond?
Well, it's flush, this door is flush with this end.
Oh, okay.
I think it's actually, just that what's happening, this is popping out.
I'm sorry.
Certainly.
I think I'm blind.
I see where your point is,
You
yeah.
know how to read drawings.
I don't
So-
see,
The two doors going into the garage or here or here?
That
I
way.
mean,
So the loading
so
dock?
doesn't
Yeah.
this, but this is asphalt, this
No.
part of the building comes out further.
Yeah, this bumps out is just the staircase.
But I don't see
No,
that.
inside here, and this is the bump out for the staircase. So this is internal right here, and this is the bump out for the staircase that goes
Okay,
down.
but I don't see in the drawing this hip coming beyond this.
I'll rely on you for that.
Am I right or wrong?
Well, I'm not sure, I think I can explain it.
I see what they're doing.
Here's the,
You do? Can
here's
you
the,
explain it to me? I just don't
here's
get
the
it.
floor plan right here, let's look at it.
Yeah, you have to also look at the north elevation a little.
And explain it to you from the back. This whole sort of canopy is not an entrance, that's not. So there's parking in the north back here, and here's that little door we see.
Oh, so is this the, so where's the,
That's north.
where are the two doors for the warehouse?
Oh, right here, loading dock.
You see, this comes out beyond here.
Yes, right, see this?
But I don't see that on the other.
It is. You just see the roof line of it, Sarah?
Here it is right here.
But the walls actually go all the way down.
So this wall
Yeah.
comes out, this one's proud of that.
Yeah,
And so this,
long
is-
time about this one. Doesn't the entrance come up and
well, the entrance is right where that arrow is, it's a flush to that face, yeah. You don't know, Sarah, I don't think you know either.
You know what? Revit will make a beautiful 3D of that area. And we can
Oh, yeah,
throw that into the next one.
Yeah, I'm
Just the
sorry.
back side.
Sorry.
I think it's okay.
It's okay,
I get it.
whatever it is, it's okay. I just,
She's
I'll
easy.
figure it out with my.
We'll figure it out before we go.
All right. Oh, anybody else?
I'm good.
Good? You guys?
Good.
Okay. I don't have any other comments other than 13 units seems like a few, but,
Two are affordable.
two or four, boy, take it, right, okay. And it meets the criteria on the road for number of units.
This is why it's the road, and this is the key, is with the road, you have the ability to do mixed use
Yeah.
as long as the residential is not more than 50% of the gross floor area.
Correct.
So you're gonna wanna make sure that Mark's all on board with all of that. I'm assuming he is.
Yes. That was carefully thought of.
Okay, good. Otherwise, you get a little landscaping, at least continuing up the sides of the ways, and then lot trees apparently.
They're in lot tree shown on the landscape.
Corrected.
I think Kathy's been very thorough, hopefully we got.
No,
it.
you don't have enough.
We didn't show them?
No, I think the key is, oh,
That looks like it's right there, Kathy. Just scroll up a little bit.
now I have a fly bothering me.
Right there.
I think you have
Not
31 parking spaces, and because of that, you need 4 in-lot trees dispersed throughout the parking lot area. And the key is that it needs to be within the parking area, like not just on the perimeter. So I think this one here you have, but trees that like here wouldn't be counted. Any trees here?
One, right? One
Yes,
here.
definitely.
And so
The
we,
ones in the
we're not gonna count
corners
this.
and-
You might be able to count that one, but that's something you should talk to Mark about. I always consider it, if you could have parked a car there, then it gets a tree, then it counts as an
So
in-lot
it
tree.
takes the place of a parking.
So there's
Right.
space up on the top
It's a
parking area
septic.
for one. Right there, that's septic. He's
Yeah.
under
Easy
there.
right there, yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, I think that's a fair question. We have to comply, we gotta, absolutely.
If you don't comply, you need to ask for that relief.
No, we don't, we'd rather not ask really. We're asking for enough, right, with the road, so.
In the corner, unless that's under the
Yeah.
septic too, that with the 2 parking
If you make
sections.
that
would be-
note, we'll be happy to add the tree. Trees.
Yeah, I'm not sure where you would add them.
To the left,
well,
left,
there's
one
one
top
up
left corner.
there.
Kathy, right there.
This doesn't count because you couldn't
Yeah.
park a car
Yeah,
there.
but
Yeah.
still, it's a good spot for one.
Right here, Kathy, one for sure.
Yes, but you're
That's
the
the
septic
septic.
system, so I don't think you can install that there.
What, are they in phase 1 or 2 of those?
We're up there, the corner should be all right.
So that's
I mean,
really
you
not
got
going to be
parking
operational
and
until like
roadway.
2027.
Yeah. Once the sewer goes in.
There, I,
The main may go by them before, but then you got to have the treatment plant too. So, but they're not even their contract isn't even issued.
Eventually.
yeah,
I
I don't
you
think,
guys
I don't think
ante up
septic
some money,
would be
man, to
right.
have as soon as your sewer plant's
Yeah,
running.
Move to Yarmouth.
Yeah. So,
Is your plan to, as soon as you get all, the permitting and so forth, to go right at it?
Yes.
to build the building?
Yes.
Looks like you got room for a couple more parking spaces.
Assuming you can
right
get
there,
finance,
too.
you know. It's all about the finance.
Yeah. All right, otherwise I'm pretty good with it. I think it's certainly a hell of a lot better than what's been there all these years.
You didn't like the food?
Didn't like the food, didn't like the architecture, didn't like too much of anything going on. So this is certainly an improvement. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We'd appreciate a
That's
positive.
not, that doesn't say a lot, but.
That's a sign now.
Well, I just like to, when we're at the Economic Development Committee meeting, this is what it is today, and that potentially what it could look like for a very long time.
All right, no other questions?
So we're not done.
Our-
Design review is a little bit different. We have the siting strategies and the design strategies that we go through, and we identify whether they're not applicable, they meet the standards or discrepancies. I just want to emphasize to everyone that as a road project, we are looking for your interpretation of whether it substantially adheres to it. It doesn't mean that they wouldn't need to get relief if they're not meeting the zoning bylaw, but this is just something that is for the planning board so that they feel comfortable looking at the development and saying that, yes, you've done enough, then I think you should move and get a special permit versus variances for the mixed use on the property. So the standard is a little bit different than what we sometimes look at. I'm just going to stop sharing.
So we'll let you continue again.
So-
Kathy.
I'm sorry. There we go. So the first strategy is the streetscape strategy. And I indicated that it meets the standard by saying the design may be considered to substantially adhere to the design standards as the building fronts on the street, has street-facing windows and porches, giving the impression of a street-facing entrance. That's one of their criteria, is the street-facing entrance. And although the enclosed building modulations are less than 5 feet, the porches extend out further to provide variations in the facade plane. So I'm basically saying, I think because of these reasons, we feel that it substantially adheres. The tenant space, it's really not applicable. That's really like if you had a big box store and put like tenants in front to make to kind of block that large building, but that's not what you are doing here. Defining the street edge meets the standard. The building is located close to the street, and streetscape and landscaping, street trees and landscaping along Route 28 help to define the street edge. Shielding the large building, again, those are for like much larger buildings, so it's not really applicable. Designing a second story, you meet the standard. Using topo to screen the new development, not really applicable. You obviously want to build a nice building. You want to be able to see it. Some more industrial or warehousey buildings, you might want to have some topography to hide that. This is where we get into landscaping buffers and screening. I think maybe Dick might have some things there. I indicated the design may be considered to adhere to the design standards if existing buffer trees to remain are identified on the plans and protected during construction. What we found a lot of times is some plans you may say these trees are remaining, but on the erosion control and work limits, you're saying it goes all the way to the property line. And so then these trees accidentally get taken down. So we just want to make sure that those trees that you're identifying as remaining on others, like the landscaping plan and elsewhere, are identified and protected during construction. And then all trees and plantings are native species. I don't know plants. I'm assuming that you guys have a landscape architect who will identify that they're all native species. The one comment I did have is that the side and the rear buffer trees need to be 3-inch caliper. And you have some on the sides, like in the front, not in front of the building, that are like 2.5. Very easy to fix. Only the trees directly in front of the building can be 2.5-inch caliper as part of a comprehensive landscaping plan. So just easy fix for you, but that's kind of what I had, if anybody has sense.
All right, no, that's
Did
good.
you want to add anything on that with
I
regard to
think
buffers on the back or?
Have it good. The buffers on the sides need to continue down where there aren't trees. The buffer on the back, I'm still a little problem with, I guess, because there is existing tree line there. That might meet the bylaw. On the other hand, I I think it really needs something more toward the parking lot because it's such an expanse of emptiness there right now.
Are you saying like the buffer to the northern
Well,
property line?
yeah,
or
to the
just on
north, I think they've got the buffer because they've got
They got-
existing trees in that,
Yeah,
in that area.
yeah,
Those trees are a long ways away from the parking lot.
but there's no
Uh,
one behind there.
So
There's,
this,
Yeah.
there's the picture
there's
of
the
it.
back.
Yeah.
And for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of yards, it's densely wooded.
Yeah, but
That's wetlands.
if you look at the plan, there's quite a ways of, I believe, existing
Grass,
cut up area, which is old asphalt and grass and weeds.
not sure it's asphalt.
In the rear is not asphalt.
And they
It's
also
not-
say we want to-
Right.
We're reusing the asphalt space.
It says remove
Okay.
pavement and landscape. I'm assuming you mean landscape with grass over the.
Well, it does say
septic
loam and
system.
seed.
plan
but,
shows
Yeah,
the,
so,
landscape plan.
trees just a lot further back, that's why. Is that the tree line that it's on there that is correct or is something, is the tree line actually closer? Because what,
Existing conditions. C6 is the landscape.
yeah, it kind of goes it way back, there's actually,
Existing to remain.
Yeah.
That's existing, yeah.
looks like we're about 50 feet to the tree line from the back of the parking lot.
So,
And I guess I kind of just like to know what that is. At least hopefully
It's
it'll be
grass.
grassed over.
it's gonna be
or-
grass,
Grass.
right?
Yeah,
It says on the plan, the loam and seed.
yeah, it does, okay. And that's adequate, I guess. Yeah.
So, I did add buffers on the side need to extend to the end of the parking and truck turnaround. Is that what you were talking about? So just on the sides,
They're
Like
missing the buffers up toward the back of the side there. Yeah,
so just a little bit here.
just those
is that what you're
areas a little
talking
bit
about?
there, yeah.
Does that make sense?
Then you may have enough, there may be on the east side that if the trees are actually on your property, in terms of where the trunk is, then you're okay with that.
I think probably on the north side, they're probably okay, but if you want to technically extend the, it does call for
I'd like to
buffers.
extend the proper landscaping buffer on both east and west sides as required to shield the parking lot.
So that's the buffer on the sides need to
On
extend to
north
the end
side,
of the
if that's gonna
parking.
be grass and
Truck
existing
turnaround in the
Some of those are
vegetation, I
existing.
guess I'm happy with that.
Some of those are existing you were asking about. These are existing, they're to remain. That's what your concern was, right?
I think what you need to have a buffer, and if you have existing trees that can provide that buffer, you don't have to add it, but if there's places, like as you get further back here, where you may not have the buffer, you may need to add some trees.
You mean, you're really skinny, you're saying against that. your
Correct.
Property line.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a fence there. I think.
Your neighbor's trees don't count, in other words.
Right.
No, but these are on our site. You see the one,
Yeah.
on the west side, they're on our property.
So parking lot visibility, it meets the standards. The parking is located to the side and rear of the building, which is what we're looking for.
Yep.
And then I guess this gets into the in-lot trees for breaking up the large parking lots. Indicate the parking lots contain 31 parking spaces and plans do not appear to show the required 4 in-lot trees. I didn't know how you guys would feel about this, so one of the things I was wanting to talk about was whether it was considered substantially adhering to the design standards, because the parking lot, even though there's 31, it's broken up into 3 very small parking areas, all with 12 spaces or less in
All
each
on
of the
just one
areas.
side.
What's that? And then there is that one in-lot tree is on the island of the largest parking area on the side. The parking in the rear is not visible due to the building location. And then the existing septic system currently prevents planting of a tree in that rear buffer. And then the perimeter plantings do help to shield the parking lot from view of Route 28. So you have trees in the corner there that are really blocking that side parking. That doesn't mean that if you kept the one tree, you wouldn't need relief, but this is talking just about the architectural and site design standards as to whether you're adequately shielding these quote large parking areas, because they've done a nice job of breaking it up into smaller areas. It's not one expansive thing of pavement with 31 parking spaces in it. So I guess that's something to discuss, or how you might want to approach that.
I suppose on the east side, those 7 spots could be divided into 2.
And end up with 6.
No, keep the 7, but move them, 1 space back.
Move one space further, add a space further north and then create an island in between somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, break up that parking area with the tree.
And I think personally, I think it's fine doing that. They should have one in the back too. These are fairly small trees. They're not going to get into the septic system initially, and we're tying into septic shortly.
In that particular location, my only question there is, in the event that we're actually plowing any snow and we're coming in this way, that creates a block.
Well, so does this one, but that's their ordinance.
But this is also the residential side.
Back drag it out, and it's all good, back drag it, if it's snow,
Right.
their ordinance.
And lots of people say the same exact thing. We just want a nice big open place and we can just plow the whole thing. It's like, yeah, okay, no. We don't get that much snow on Cape Cod anymore.
Who knows? There's always hope.
Until we get it.
Until we get it.
Until
I've been here
2015
long enough
happens
to
again,
know.
yeah. So do you want to say something to lots of times, even though your plan may not meet it, we can say that the design meets the standards if add 3 more inlet trees? Is that what you want to say?
That's a good way to do it, then they just pick how they want to do it.
Thank you. We appreciate the positive recommendation. We've worked hard at it.
And later on, it'd be nice to plant the tree there. The septic kind of have to come out, you think, once the sewer gets
I
connected?
think it'd be abandoned. I think the
It's
field's
abandoned,
abandoned.
yeah.
Well, again, if you build on it, it's a whole different ballgame. That's uncertain at the moment.
So it just meets the standard, so the parking lot contains 31 parking spaces. The plans don't appear to show the required 4 inlet trees. Design meets the standards if you add 3 more inlet trees to the parking area. Locate utilities underground. One of the questions we had was that overhead utility line did you figure that
So
out?
that pole.
Yeah.
It's owned by the utility.
Okay.
Where the line goes from Route 28 to
The pole-
essentially
first pole.
the property line-ish.
Yeah.
That pole is owned by the utility and provides service to Giardino's restaurant. There's some lighting. It's another
Oh.
pole light.
Oh,
lighting the
Giardino's, sorry.
pole line.
Okay.
So the intent would be to have the wire at the street move from that pole to a different pole that's in line with the boundary line.
I'm totally unclear on what you're saying. So would your
So if you-
utilities all be underground on your property? Or
Also, I believe ours are underground. The only thing that is above ground at this juncture is not even providing any service to property owners.
right, but when you're done, are you going to have overhead utilities going across?
No.
No overhead utilities connected to the building.
Right, but are you still going to have them go across your property connected to
We want that
Giardino's?
out, but I have to caution, working with utilities is one difficult process, so.
We don't own it.
We'll ask
We
them
don't own it.
today, we'll ask them today, and maybe a couple of years from now, they might actually cancel the phone. So honestly, yes, I get it, we don't want it, we want it out.
But you don't own,
We don't own it.
We don't own.
No, they probably have an easement,
confer-
my guess is they have an easement, so they can make it hard, but I think, it's reasonable to get it off our property. That's an old fashioned thing that was probably there before, nobody complained.
I believe on.
So they're owned by Eversource?
Correct.
Those lights, you pay so much a month, you don't actually own the light, Eversource owns it.
So on the existing conditions drawing, I can point to it, it's probably easier than I could explain it.
Proposed half a step.
Well, so we hope not, we hope that that's, they'll get rid of it, but, I don't know. We probably don't have control of it.
I guess what I'm saying is even if the pole remained on the street, the wire that's running from it through the air over
it's not in your limit.
our client's property doesn't have to.
You talking about this right here?
Yes, sir.
Back to a
Correct.
pole back here.
Correct.
Right,
Correct. So I believe there's another pole over here. So rather than doing that, it could do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That would be preferable.
The problem, as I mentioned earlier, though, is dealing with these people.
Yeah,
You can
yeah,
say
I do.
something, Kathy, the applicants are agreeable to moving the line, subject to their
We're agreeable.
ability to get approval from the utility.
Absolutely. Now, it does seem to continue the overhead line to the back. You know what that does?
So that, they're, they don't know. So, for a fee, they can find out for us. And so thus I don't have any better than I don't know at this point.
Go somewhere back there.
It really is a mystery because in speaking with them, we actually looked at it from Google Earth or whatever,
Mhm.
and we can't figure it out. It's some distance before you even get to the residential area that's like way deep.
Are there any poles between here and the residential?
It's almost as if our civil suggested it might actually just go down to like, I don't know, Middle Earth or something. I don't know.
Someone should just go and cut it and see.
Well, do the best you can.
So we can say it meets the standards and the utilities are proposed to be buried for their project.
Yes.
And there are existing overhead wires and poles on the property owned by Eversource that service Giardino's. Applicant will work with Eversource to relocate the overhead line and utilities off their property.
Yes.
Yeah, the only thing about that sentence is that we will work to,
Work with.
how about try
I said applicant will work with Eversource.
to
Yeah.
try? You know why I'm saying that?
Yeah, I
just-
know.
We don't own it. They have the control. We don't. They have every line they have an easement. Somebody
That's why I
signed
said
it.
subject to the
Somebody signed
approval
it.
of the utility.
That would be appreciated because otherwise we'd be in default.
So applicant will try to have Eversource relocate the overhead line and utility poles off their property.
We certainly don't want it.
Yeah.
It's lousy.
Shielding loading areas meets the standards. The loading dock is well hidden behind the building. Getting into the building strategies, breaking down the building mass into multiple buildings. I think that's not applicable. Building mass and the submasses, I think it meets the standard. You're trying to break up the building in various ways to make it look as though it's smaller. Varying the facade lines, it kind of meets the standards. The design may be considered to substantially adhere to the design standards as there are some modulations in the building facade, although less than 5 feet, and the porches extend out further at varying depths to provide defined variations in the facade lines of the building. This might be a good place to add something, however, as the porches are relied upon for the main variation in the building facade, the column should be modified to, and then this is where
Oh,
Sarah tells me, to
Thinner column.
to 10 inches to 12 inches
I don't know what they should be, to be made
proportional.
proportional.
You know it when you see it. That's how I am. But they are. yeah.
Proportional to the building and include, do we want trim,
Yeah, to
Some kind of a
show
detail.
you or somebody, you,
include trim details
trim
at
detail.
at the base, is
The
that
base and
in the top?
I can't remember architectural terms.
The column.
It has to be in the panels of below the pseudo entry porch to
The south side.
the south side, the large entry, the large gable facing the street.
LED signage doesn't qualify as.
It's more architectural detail on the trim is what we're getting at. The rest of the building is good. We're getting down
Yes.
to the trim parts.
Mhm.
So that's,
So just, yeah, and so what did we want to say about the panels though?
Would like to see,
So they're between the
more
columns.
detailing about the panels on that south facing, large south facing gable.
On the Route 28
I don't know
elevation.
what to call it, Route 28.
add detail to the panels. Make them look,
Yeah.
So-
break it up, make it look smaller.
Okay, so however, as the porches are relied upon for the main variation of the building facade, the column should be modified to be made proportional to the building and include trim details on the base and top of the column. And the panels between the columns need more detailing along the Route 28 elevation.
Is a color variation helpful at all?
I don't think so, no, I wouldn't want to call attention to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that you could, like some
Panel,
shadow
make it
panels,
small.
like,
Shadow boards.
yeah,
See what panel has?
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Very good, yeah, let's see.
It just breaks it up, right?
Bring it out.
Yeah.
Nope.
John and
Thank you.
John,
John
he's gonna
Vita.
send you his
I
bill.
All right, we should talk
noticed
how to do
I
that.
didn't notice it on the sides too. I think all of those two-story.
And same with the columns.
So the panels between the
Porch
columns everywhere should be done, or?
Two-story,
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So there's
So
more.
it's everywhere, it's not just along Route 28.
Yeah, 'cause-
Right, it's all, you want it all to look the same.
yeah.
I think this is like when you guys were, your architect was gonna get into the details, he probably would have done something there anyway.
Yeah.
No, we haven't been into the detail. Yeah, see here, for example, you see there's more detail, a little bit more detail
Yeah.
here than you see on the old, so.
Yeah,
To include, yeah, shadow boards.
Yeah.
This is sort of
Is
an
the-
age
is the
issue
term.
with people. who
Such a
use
shadow,
Revit.
how about I say such a shadow?
it's just.
So the panels between the columns need more detailing, such as shadow boards.
Exactly. Just can't go ahead and do all the architecture to the.
And the columns.
Yeah, I said should be made, modified to be made proportional to the building, include trim detail on the base
You
and top.
include that
And
little
the
sketch you
panels.
made.
We want square, right? We don't want circular. That's the other thing, right?
If they're square, then
No,
the
I
way
want
to
square
make them
personally.
small, you put the little
Yeah.
shadow boards on.
so I was
Yes.
telling Kathy, every time I go through the mill house resident, I wanna go with an axe and slam down those huge brown columns. Sorry, I'm not a guy. This isn't recorded, is it?
No,
It is
It is
recorded,
live.
yes.
Only if somebody is.
Speak your heart,
It's just
Bob.
live.
There you go.
Speak your truth, Sarah.
Oh, my goodness.
Um,
Watching, definitely.
So varying the wall heights, I think it meets the standards. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm done.
Wall heights.
I'm still suffering.
Wall heights are varied with the gable ends, and then I don't think we really talked about that, but there are some small shed dormers in the front, like little. Was that the right terminology for those? Maybe.
Shed door?
No.
Mm-mm.
What are those? That's what I thought they were in the renderings. Was like the little shed dormers in there.
Yeah, like over the.
Which one, Kathy?
The fake entrances.
But you can see how
Yeah.
this goes up. There's some change to the roof line going on
Oh,
there.
that's just a
What is it
little
called?
dormer coming off.
It's
the
a
front.
dormer, just a. I
Yeah,
said
it's
shed
an-
dormer.
it's
That's
an
all I
A
call it.
dormer instead of shed.
Well, I
It's
can
a
still
A
wonder why
A
they're
dash
feeling this
dormer.
way, because I
A-shape,
think it's a mistake.
A-frame.
and They for some reason have raised the facial
That was
line
requested.
Well,
in those areas, which,
She asked for it.
what I asked for was I
Yeah,
wanted
that's
some
architect.
variations in the roof line, and what I had.
but that doesn't give you variations in the roof line, does it? Oh, I see, it's changing.
The roof slope.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I see, I didn't see that.
Originally, I think the rendering showed it being more. The first rendering showed it being more substantial. This one's a little bit less, but it changes the wall heights a little bit.
Mhm.
I don't know whether it's worth the detail or not, or
Yeah, I get what
it's a
you're
little
saying.
different.
Yeah, I didn't see that. But I understand what you're
Plus,
saying.
you got a good architect in the office.
I am not an
Kathy's
architect.
Pretty good.
Kathy's
That's why I'm
good.
saying I was so dying for her to come back.
Makes it break up if that line doesn't
I've
go
been so
across. So that's.
articulate.
Yeah,
It does.
it makes
They
it
don't
up a
have a
little.
long line.
Yes,
It breaks up
exactly.
the sight line.
Okay,
She's
good.
fabulous.
All right, I'm glad to hear.
She's so
And this is the other thing is that we didn't talk about too is, and I don't know what to call that either, but along the front and along the side, there's like that little roof, first floor roof that sticks out, which I think helps
Mhm.
in bunch of different ways. So I said the partial first floor roof projection also helps to create variations in the wall heights.
Mhm. I agree.
Sounds positive. doesn't it?
Roof varying roof lines meets the standards. The roof height is lower in the rear. There are gable ends and then the small A dormers. Is that what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A dash dormers.
Gable dormers. is
Gable
what it is.
dormers.
Is that what they're?
Yeah.
What is
The
that?
Gable roofs.
Framers call them A's.
Yeah,
These?
the gable.
Gables.
What
Nope,
is
the other
this?
one. To the
Yeah,
left.
this
That's
I just call
That's
it
a shed.
gable
That's
ends.
a
One
gable
is
dormer.
like a shed
Yeah, I just say
dormer.
gable ends. So
Yeah.
Does that make sense? But what does this
I'd
become?
say that a shed roof.
I called it a shed dormer, but he was
We were
saying.
pointing at two different things.
Oh, okay. So
That's
it's a
fine.
shed, a small
Shed
shed
roof?
dormer. Does that
It's
make
shed
sense?
roof.
Oh, sure. Yeah, it's not really a dormer though, because the wall
Shed-
comes out the
shed.
same distance, right, as the one on the other side of the porch.
I'm sorry. Say that again.
So in that, those two windows between the large porch and
Yeah.
the roof, the wall is still the same distance. It doesn't matter.
I just want to know what to call it.
Well, I don't know what to call it.
Now we're in trouble. How about just saying it looks great?
I just want to give justifications as to why
You
it's
come to the
substantial.
meeting, though, if you're there.
You're
It's solve a
trying
lot of
to
problems.
change the fascia, the height of the fascia, right?
The height of the wall, yeah.
Yeah, so that
The
this,
height of the-
the trim line didn't just go right across.
Yeah.
It broke it up by raising it a bit, so.
That was the goal.
We
Or
Call
you
it
could
a, call it a
just say
shed.
change the roof
I'm just gonna call it a
Right,
shed
the
dormer.
line in
Shed
order
dormer.
to raise.
The
height of
eaves,
the
the
wall.
breaking up the roof eaves.
Roof line to raise the height, vary the height of the second floor wall. Does that sound?
I just said the roof height is lower in the rear, and then there are gable ends, and then also the small shed dormers in the front.
Well, as long as everyone understands
Yeah.
what you're saying,
Especially
it
if you're
doesn't
there, you
mean.
could just say how great it
Because
is.
you're gonna be there.
And then bringing down the building edges, the porches and the first floor partial roof help to bring down the building edges, so it meets the standards. Building materials, different building materials for depth meets the standard. Using traditional natural building materials meets the standards. Modern materials are used for longevity and low maintenance, but look like traditional building materials, which is typical these days. Incorporating pedestrian scale features meets the standards. The porches and the first floor partial roof address pedestrian scale features. Incorporating energy efficient design. I only had a question as to whether the roof of the building is going to be hidden by the flat part roof
Flat
is
portion.
being hidden by the faux roof, so to speak. And then you're going to have mechanical equipment on top that's going to be
Yes.
completely hidden. Okay.
It'll be
Any
different.
any idea of or interest in solar panels? I'm just asking the question.
I think everyone's interested in them. It all depends on the moment and the deal and.
Right, we discussed that in the infancy stages, and that's something that we'll review as we keep going for that.
I indicated it meets the standards. You're going to have to meet the stretch energy code. It's going to be a
Absolutely,
very
yep.
efficient building
Mhm.
anyway. So that's the end. But what we do is these meeting minutes, excuse me, just 1 second. These meeting minutes are these design review comments are also the design review committee meeting minutes. So I have to read a few things and they need to vote on a few things. Once they do that, I will clean up, make sure I'm actually using proper grammar, and then I will send it to you tomorrow to sign like you did in site plan review, and then you send that back to me, and then we'll have all the package, I think, information. I don't know whether you're gonna, then you can decide what you want to do, but I would need the materials for the planning board, at least a week ahead of time, if not a little earlier. So this is stuff that you're welcome to stay, but it's more their procedures, totally up to you. So
Which would make you more comfortable.
either way, whatever you guys want to do.
Looks like a good project. You guys are gonna do all of it. Yep.
I appreciate all the changes that you guys made. I think it's come a long way. And I think it looks great. I love the extra windows on the first floor. I do think it gives it more of a retail building feel on the first floor. We talked about that versus, just before with the windows, the different windows they had, it looked very residential all the way around. And they just want to make sure that the first floor really read retail. And I think it made a big difference. So just summary of the presentation. Scott gave an overview of the property and the proposed two-story building. They're going to be reusing the septic system until they can tie into the town sewage. And they've engineered the site for septic, lighting, stormwater, and landscaping. Gave an overview of the landscaping plan, which includes removal of some invasive species and planting of native species, and spoke of the rain garden in the front. Scott reviewed the architectural renderings and the location of the entrances to the retail on the first floor, which will be an express restaurant supplies for retail and wholesale for food service related items. There are going to be 10 single bedroom and 3 2-bedroom units on the second floor. Deliveries will be made in the rear of the building at one loading dock. Trucks have the ability to circulate, the site has the ability to circulate larger trucks on site to access the loading dock. Scott indicated the general color themes are gray tones with hardy plank and hardy shingles and asphalt architectural shingles for the roof and platinum brick veneer for the wainscoting. Is that the right term, wainscoting?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm not as big, and I don't know my plants, and I'm not as big on the architecture. Design review questions and discussions. Dick Martin asked about the existing trees and felt the buffers should be extended further to the back. Kathy Williams indicated that the buffers need to screen the parking areas and the turnaround. Dick noted the need for additional in-lot trees. And Steve asked about the maintenance of the rain garden. Scott indicated the owners would be managing the property as well as be operating their business out of this property. Sarah discussed the columns on the rendering, which look too large, but they look different on the elevations, and the rendering doesn't show any of the trims on the columns, but the elevations do. Would like to see more details on the columns and the panels. Sarah indicated a 10 to 12 inches on the columns should be sufficient along with trim. Roy indicated the panels and columns would create a faux entrance, and the panels are hiding some of the structure, but they could have a different look. Roy indicated the renderings are more of an artistic rendering, with the elevations being more accurate. Otherwise, Sarah felt that the design was pretty good. Dick asked about the laundry, where Scott indicated that there's a common laundry along with individual storage units. Dick asked about the height of the building, and Roy indicating it was less than that allowed by zoning. Charlie asked about the dumpster location, which is behind the building and fenced in with a chain link with slats. Design Review Committee would like to see a solid fence. Steve asked about the location of the fence, which is to be, Steve asked about the location of the sign.
Right.
Sorry. Which is to the left of the western entrance. Charlie asked about the residences and will there be any signage for the residents. Scott's indicated no for privacy, but includes a street number. The residential entrance would include a directory. Charlie asked about the size of the parking spaces, which are 10 by 20. Sarah asked about the location of the parking for the residents and the employees. The main entrance is in the rear of the building, but they can have an access on the east side entrance also. Is that true? Can they get in on the east
Oh,
side?
there's this little bit of a stair hall that juts out right in the corner. Is that,
On the east side, no, on the north side.
what is that second one? Isn't there?
Look at the fourth one. Yeah, well, it's intended they can only, you can't probably couldn't stop them.
Yeah, I know.
But they'll have a keys.
Yeah.
They can get in that way if they
That's
want
right.
to. It's just not going to necessarily be
Well,
convenient
it's
for them.
inconvenient, you got trucks, you know.
Roy indicated they would have access to both residential entrances, but the east door is more of an emergency door, and the northern door would be the main residential access. Charlie asked if there would be only one tenant, and there will be one tenant who's the owner of the property. Obviously, retail tenant. You'll have more than one tenant, hopefully on the second floor. If not, you're in trouble. Sarah asked about the residential entrances and the roof, and then Roy gave an overview of the architecture at the entrances. Roy indicated there would be 2 affordable units. Dick asked more about the in-lot trees, and reviewed that there was only one in-lot tree, and Roy indicated that he would be adding more in-lot trees. And Dick noted that the proposal is an improvement. You know the question you didn't ask, which you always ask? What's the question you always ask? He asked about dumpsters, and you ask about
Yeah.
irrigation.
Yeah.
For the back wall.
Yeah, is there irrigation?
I believe that's not contemplated to have
Should
that.
be. Yeah. Everything will be dead in 6 months if you don't.
There's a water ban that goes on the town,
Yeah, it doesn't.
Not all the time.
No.
There's been one.
No, I can't remember.
The one last
Yeah,
summer.
I mean, it can vary, but summers are usually very, very dry. And you will lose essentially all your plantings without.
The big croak.
Just ask the CVS in West Yarmouth. They had to do all the whole
Yeah, had to
planting.
have to
They had
do it all
irrigation, they
by-
just never turned it
I get it,
on.
that's what my dad chooses to do, that's his choice.
It's an issue, so I guess the answer is we gotta preserve the plant, we know that, so.
Yeah, if you're not, then again, we require you to plant them again, and yeah, that's expensive.
Probably drip irrigation, you know, something like that.
That's much more water friendly. Yeah.
Thank you.
So would you consider drip irrigation?
I think we absolutely consider, it. We have to keep the plants alive, so
Yeah.
just.
So
We're
Dick
not that
inquired as to
far.
whether there be irrigation. Scott indicated that they had not considered it, but Roy stated that they need to preserve the plantings and would consider drip irrigation.
I have a question. I'm sorry, I should have said this a long time ago, but I was still confused about the loading dock and all that. That rear entrance, aside from the fact that I understand now you have that little tiny window and the doors that go up to the second floor, although I'm not quite sure why it's needed. as a resident, I would think I'd want a little bit more covering so that if I came in with my groceries, for example, and it was raining out, I'd have a place to put my groceries in it. It does say a little bit more about this is where you enter instead of that little teeny roof over it. Just a suggestion. I think they look better too. And then
Like on the
this,
north side.
yeah, the north side. I'm sorry I didn't say it before. Just,
Well, that's good, I can picture, you're trying to move this architecture.
You'll be on the elevation, second page, I think.
yeah, second hand.
You're retired now.
Which is good. Yeah, I just think, if that roof were just twice as long for a porch so that people have a place to put their stuff. Thank you.
Extending out away from the road.
No, to the
Little
right,
rain,
to the right, just beside it. I don't know how big.
Oh,
it
what's
is.
that?
Bus shelter.
Yeah, just a little
Yeah, they don't
shelter
have
when you
one
come in.
right now.
How big
But
is
that's
that?
the-
How far out does that roof come? Does it? Oh, but is that just applied to the building front? And
Oh, it's good, I don't know,
it has a bracket.
you may not be there. You may not be
It
there
doesn't
Friday
show
on the road.
in the drawings, but it's just a suggestion to make it twice or 2.5 times wider from left to right.
Just to make it so for rain.
Yeah, and also
Yeah, make
saying,
it
this
look
is
better.
where you come in, otherwise it looks like the other one in an emergency.
It look like a mechanical room almost
Yeah, it's-
versus an
You wanna
entrance
make-
to your
Make the
home.
tenants feel welcome when they
Yeah.
come.
Yeah, really, it's just, and that little window's kind of weird, but I'm not sure why.
I think you want to see this so you can see if someone's barreling down the
Yeah,
down the
yeah,
stairs
no,
and
I
running
would-
over
no,
someone
I
or
make
standing
it-
on the
I would
porch.
make it bigger.
Oh.
Not eliminate it.
Okay.
Picturing yourself carrying the groceries in the rain.
There's also light into that wall.
Right.
Which
wanna keep-
part?
For an entrance door, you want to keep the window at a minimum for security.
Well, I understand. I'm just saying make the port, my big thing is just making the porches.
Yeah.
So Sarah suggested having a larger covering over the northern residential entrance by making it wider.
Not deeper, wider.
Did you have a question, Chris?
Just the thought had come to me about the, the only requirement for
No.
no bus.
There's no
bus shelters or
requirement that
anything.
there be a bus shelter, no.
It would be nice with that many residents. So, Felt like putting a bus shelter there.
On 28?
Mhm.
Is it flag stop, the bus?
It would just be, yeah, you'd flag them
Yeah,
down.
flag it down.
Yeah.
How many people, I mean, it's nice to prepare, but most of us.
You might want to wait and see whether you feel like
Yeah.
there's insufficient, and sometimes if there is a lot of traffic there, the regional transit will even provide you with a shelter, you know.
They
I
were-
think that I think they did the one over here, the Bob Lawton shelter.
Uh-huh.
So, do you want to say anything about that, or
It'd
do
be
you?
nice to have masks if that was something that they would have for that.
That's a good point. The number of people that have to be in there,
Mhm.
and depending upon what their work schedules are and so forth.
I just said, Chris Vincent suggested maybe including a bus shelter for the residents. She's
didn't
suddenly
want that.
coming back in, like,
I don't
when
know.
is this meeting over?
I don't think,
That's-
we did
That means
discuss
moving
lighting.
along.
So, Charlie was asking about, the site lighting. It's just, what does it look like, or what is it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
what are
It's
the
just a
plans?
shoebox type lighting. Yeah.
Photometric plans.
Yeah, but whereabouts?
These are the black squares,
Okay,
so just around the perimeter
okay.
and the parking areas.
Photometric plan, somewhere there it is. There you go, see, it's on there.
Charlie asked about the site lighting, which is a shoebox style light located around the perimeter of the parking area. Okay, did you, based on anything, did you want to make any changes to any of our comments on the strategies based on our further discussions, or?
No.
So I'm looking for a motion to approve the design review committee comments as meeting minutes for the June 6, 2024 design review committee meeting for the proposed mixed-use development at 228 Route 28 West Yarmouth.
So moved.
Second.
Too short, too slow. And just a vote.
Oh, yeah, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye as well, so it's
Unanimous.
unanimous.
Okay, one last vote. And it is to adjourn the meeting at 5:22.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Missed the ball again.
Check my-
Okay, all in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
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 Those
Aye.
people who've been here longer on the Cape than I, it was SS Pierce in that building, wasn't there? Wasn't it before they, at the
On the
Rotary?
site?
At
No,
the Rotary?
the one that